Well, hello. It's morning. That's right. Here we are. Good to see you this morning. It is March 30th. Wow. March is going by quick, although in some ways it seems like it's going forever with all of this stuff going on, doesn't it? Ha! Anyway, hey, I don't know if you saw our serious podcast on Friday night, this past Friday. It was fun. Hope you guys had fun. I know some of the video was lagging for a bit. We think we got that figured out. Jake's been doing some good work again on that. Yeah, I think we got that figured out. Join us this coming Friday for our second episode of This is a Serious Podcast. It was a good time. The interaction was great. People that were involved and texting and so forth, it was great. It was fun. Yeah, fun was had by all. All right, so here we are for a Monday, Wednesday morning devotional. You know what? This week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, that's kind of what we're going to be doing now. Monday and Wednesday we have a devotional, and then Friday we wrap it up with a third installment. So we're kind of working a theme all week long. Our theme this week is Daniel in the Den. Daniel and the Lion's Den. Great story. Let's read the first 5 verses of that story. I'm sure it's very familiar to all of you, but let's read. Here we go. Darius the Mede decided to divide the kingdom into 120 provinces. Darius the Mede, he was one of the kings who had beaten Babylon, had taken over, and the people of Israel were slaves, were servants, captives in Babylon. So Darius the Mede, who's now in charge, decided to divide the kingdom into 120 provinces, and he appointed a high officer to rule over each province. The king also chose Daniel and 2 others as administrators to supervise the high officers and protect the king's interests. So you had the king, who's the boss, and then you had the guys next. There we are, the guys next, the underbosses, and in between there, Daniel and 2 others to look after the bosses who were working for the big boss. Okay? The king also chose Daniel and 2 others as administrators to supervise the high officers and protect the king's interests. Daniel soon proved himself more capable than all the other administrators and high officers. Because of Daniel's great ability, the king made plans to place him over the entire empire. Wow. Then the other administrators and high officers began searching for some fault in the way Daniel was handling government affairs, but they couldn't find anything to criticize or condemn. And he was faithful, always responsible, and completely trustworthy. So they concluded our only chance of finding grounds for accusing Daniel will be in connection with the rules of his religion. So there you go. Daniel is doing well high up in the government. There are some people who are upset that he's there. They're jealous. They're angry that he's there, and they want to get rid of him, but they can't find any way to get rid of him. So they realize that they're going to have to do so by forcing him to break one of the rules of his own religion. We're going to get more into that on Wednesday and Friday. But let's just take a look at those first 5 verses and see a few things. First, the first 5 verses show that Joseph lived faithfully before God. He lived out his faith. And that was great. And we can do that today. We can live our faith, our belief in Jesus, and it can have a great impact on the way that we interact with the world. It is possible to live in our world in a Christian way. If Daniel could do it in front of the Medes and the Persians, we can do it. Second, he was able to live as a good citizen and employee at the time. He was a good citizen and a good employee. He worked hard. And he did his job competently, even better than that. And his boss, the king, recognized it and rewarded him for that. And we can do that today. We can work well and do our jobs well and be consistent in our Christian faith. His enemies had to contrive a dilemma for him to face. If they were going to get rid of him, they knew that they were going to have to they couldn't find a way in which he was guilty of breaking a law or doing his work poorly or being a lousy citizen. They were going to have to create something. They were going to have to pit his faith against his desire to do well for the king. They were going to have to bring those two things into conflict. So, let's sum that up quickly. First of all, the Christian faith naturally leads to good and proper living in the world around us. That may come as a shock to some people, but living the Christian faith, living by the principles that God has put before us, is conducive, fits naturally with living well in the world around us. There's no conflict there. Second, being a good employee. The Christian faith naturally leads to being a good employee that does their best. That goes hand in hand. Being a Christian and living out our faith in the world around us means we work hard. And we work hard for our boss. And we're responsible. And we're trustworthy. And we're reliable. Living out the Christian faith, though, also will annoy those who live in opposition to God's direction. And that shouldn't be a surprise to us either. We should recognize that just from our understanding of the New Testament. Jesus told us that if you love him, people will be upset with you. In fact, he used an even stronger word. The world will hate us because we love Jesus and because we serve him, because we follow him, and because we profess him. People will hate us. So while at the same time we can live consistently our Christian faith in the world around us and be a good employee, that will annoy people. And that will make people angry with us. Just the fact that we hold to a standard that they don't, and that we believe that that standard is important, they're going to be upset. They were upset with Daniel, and they worked hard to try and find a way to make life difficult for Daniel, and they created a dilemma for him. Turns out that wasn't much of a dilemma. It wasn't much of a choice. He didn't have too hard a time with that. But we're going to talk more on that next time. And with that, I'm looking at my little recorder clock, and I am under 8 minutes. Can you believe it? Okay, so we are going to see you next time on, well, hello, it's morning. Take good care of there we go. Take good care of yourself. See ya.